Welcome to Season 4 of the Builders Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Levenhagen. This season, we're exploring the human behind the builders, the stories, experiences, and defining moments that shape the people who build great businesses. Builders helping builders. Enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another The Builders. Today, we are joined by Allan Glanfield. Welcome to the show, Allan.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for having me.
So, Allan is the founder of Chuck. Do you want to take like a minute or two and just tell us a little bit about what you guys do over there? What your business is all about?
Yeah. So Chuck is a Canadian meat snack brand. We sort of focus on making meat sticks, something that probably everyone has seen or tried before, which came out of needing to create a product that was travel friendly for ourselves and our kids. We're big travelers, and we're always running into the problem of like finding kind of nutritious options on the go in a sort of in a pinch. And so meat snacks kind of became a solution for us as parents or as adults. But finding something for our kids was always sort of a challenge. So we developed a product, a meat snack that was with the goal of having something that was a protein source for ourselves and for our kids, but also was palatable for them. So focusing on flavor, focusing on not being too dry and tough, and also focusing on packaging that they could open. It was sort of another problem we found in the market, which is just like packaging being a frustrating experience for customers. So it was different maybe in the US as far as product availability, but up here we were finding limited options. And so it's sort of a story of solving a bunch of problems that we were encountering ourselves. And we quickly realized when we put it out in the world that like we weren't the only ones. So we launched about a year ago, and it's been a pretty wild journey so far. So been growing quite quickly, and now I'm trying to keep up.
That's amazing. Oh, yeah. I love products that stem from some like your own personal problems. Like you're identifying something and you're like, it would be really great. And that takes a certain kind of mind, because some people just see problems. They don't start thinking solutions right off the bat, you know?
Yeah.
And that must
maybe
be
a bit of a curse sometimes.
Yeah,
though,
maybe a bit of a curse.
Because you're like, when you get used to like, when you realize you're like, someone's got to solve the problem. Why not me? And then you're not afraid to be you, for it to be you. Yeah. All of a sudden you're seeing problems everywhere, and you're having to kind of, I get in trouble at least once a week from finding a new problem to solve and having to come back and focus. So, but yeah, it's been
that
fun.
Is a challenge.
Sure.
We actually had somebody on the podcast who's like 80 years old, and he was an old engineer, been, for decades building businesses. And he had the same exact problem where it's like he saw problems everywhere, but his wife is like, no more, you're not building this one. You're not doing this one. He gave it to somebody else. It's like, I really am trying to retire.
I know. It's, it's one of those things where, and I think that's the daily struggle when you're building something, is like, the, part of the ingredient of being successful is to focus, and is to go all in on one thing and put the time in on one thing. But it's hard, man. You see all kinds of opportunities out there when you're when that's your mind and the way it works. It's I would say that's my daily struggle, is just coming back to what I'm already doing and not finding the new thing. So.
We'll get to your story in a minute. So I'm curious, like, where do you think that comes from? Is that something that you nurtured, or was like stemmed from some experience, or is that something you were just born with?
I mean, I definitely I grew up around parents who ran their own businesses, so I think it was also, I think definitely part of it was just seeing them kind of, or being attracted to the idea of like setting your own schedule, I think was like an interesting thing for me. And then, there's definitely some family members for sure. A grandparent who was like very, very sort of a big problem solver, as a builder, and realizing that I think it's learning that you don't have to create anything new. You just need to find something that exists in the world,
Right.
and that
Right.
you can add something to improve it.
Yeah.
And that art is sort of stealing and
Right.
rethinking it in a new way. And
Yeah.
so I definitely like, again, it's like a hindsight thing looking back, but you're like, yeah, I was definitely like provided with some little messages throughout my life for
Mhm.
sure that like made me think, I'm like, no, like you just need to be like aware of what exists. I think you can get caught up in trying to be the one creating something from completely new, because those are those big stories which pay out, but they're like one in a million, and
Yeah.
there's so many smaller opportunities that are still big, where we could just
Mhm.
be like, what if I just tweak this? And Chuck's that. It's like, we didn't invent a meat stick,
No, right. Yeah.
definitely not. And the way we make ours is very traditional. And so like you go to Italy and stuff, and the way that they're making it is not far from ours. It's just we took that and started to solve the little problems we found to make a functional
Love it.
product. And yeah, I think you're just, I think it's just a time as well.
Mhm.
Like just, and just, getting older, you kind of become, yeah, you start, you kind of realize that you don't need to look for this big life changing,
Yeah, you don't need like something from
idea. It
scratch
doesn't need to be
that's
this
never
crazy
existed.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many little things. Even so, I mean, I'm ripping this house apart, and I'm like, man, there's got to be a tool to do that, or this
Right.
or that. And some of them exist, and you're like, oh, great. Like that made my life easier. But then other things, I'm like, oh, like imagine you could invent a tool to make that little job easier. And I think it's just like a fun way to think. I just think you have to, you have to rein it in. You have to
Right.
like keep it together. Or else, like, I'm going to be building, I'm going to be calling Milwaukee one day with a tool idea. And I probably shouldn't do that. Should probably stick with meat
Right,
sticks.
exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, you'd be trying to make a prototype in your basement or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're one. You're
And that was it. That was my grandfather. He would build tools and build things, and yeah, get caught in that. And it is so exciting to like be around that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be dangerous too, because you end up with a whole lot of half finished projects, right?
Well, okay, so that's awesome. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit, because that's something I hear often, especially people that like inventors and people that just like to create things, and it's just really interesting to see where that comes from. So let's talk about your story a little bit. You have an interesting one.
Yep.
That lands you in a house that you're working on, and, and a new business. But where is, tell us your kind of your origin story, like what your journey's been like and how you landed, doing the amazing things you're doing today.
Yeah. I mean, it's always like, it's a loaded question in that, I up until kind of building Chuck, that was always the question I hated the most. People are like, so what do
Hmm.
you do? And I'm like, oh no, that's a hard one to answer. Because even to this day, I'm running that company, but I also have a consultancy on the marketing
Hmm.
side. I spent years as a photographer, and I still do that. So I'm kind of someone who's got my hands in a handful of things.
Yeah.
And yeah, and in the summers, I grew up in construction, so I'm not afraid to rip a house down at the same time. So yeah, I think going back far enough, I think the one thing I can sort of say with confidence is I just never really wanted to have a boss.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
didn't feel very employable. I felt right even out of high school, it was sort of just something I'm like, I gotta make up money my own way. It would,
What is it about a boss that bothers you?
um, I mean, I don't know. I think it's just like, I think it was these questions. You're like, you're not motivated to work harder per se. I was always like wanting more skin in the game. It's like,
Hmm.
what if,
Hmm.
if I, and sort of almost being, and this is just my experiences. It's just like, again, being obsessed with solving problems, finding ways to be more efficient at something actually wasn't always a good thing.
Right.
Being faster and being like, what do you mean you're like done that already? Like, now you need another thing. It was like not always being rewarded for being efficient,
Yeah, that's
depending
not what
on
you're
what the
hired for.
type
You're
of
not hired
job,
to
you
be,
know?
yeah, not hired
And,
to be efficient.
yeah, or just being
Yeah.
frustrated by like how things were running, and you're like, I just want to do my own thing and figure it out my own
But that
way.
that kind of all
Um,
stems from how you grew up, though. You grew up around entrepreneurs and
yeah,
or people that
for
were
sure.
thinkers. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, yeah, my family, my parents were in the construction industry, but they were running their own companies and sort of very hard workers, but also like, yeah, had their own hours, made sure, was around after school, and kind of they got to like decide how their day went, and that mattered a lot to me too. So, um, that was how it started. It was just starting businesses. So I had my own landscaping maintenance company. I started what sort of started, I think, the journey now looking back was I started a screen printing company. So I started printing
Hmm.
t-shirts and I like marketing material and things like that.
How did you land on things? Is it just stuff that you were just interested in, or you just saw an
Yeah, it would,
opportunity?
yeah, or just seeing other people doing it.
Hmm.
I think with like t-shirts being printed, like in the music scene, like in local bands, seeing band tees, and I'm like, man, that's cool. I'm like, oh, who's doing that? I want to do that.
Yeah.
Um, and I loved art. I've always been big into photography. It was just something I did. Built
Hmm.
my own dark room, did my own kind of thing on
Nice.
that side. And so I found like putting art on clothing was an interesting thing for me. So I started doing that. And again, it's just, I think it's this, that can story that sort of runs through is like constantly just finding this new problem I want to solve.
Right.
And so from there it was like, oh, like, well, putting things on clothing is interesting, but what would be more interesting is if I actually made the shirt itself or the clothing itself. So how do I do that? Like how can I make the shirt and print on the shirt? And so then I started going down the path of like, understanding how clothing was made. And at that time I finished high school, but I didn't really have a plan,
Hmm.
after that. And so years later, um, I started looking into clothing design and apparel design, and which the lack of options actually, especially in menswear in Canada, led me to New York City. And I went down there. I checked to check out FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology, and they were like, "You should apply, give it a shot." I'm like, "They're like, all you have to do is submit a portfolio of all your fashion sketches." I'm like, what? I'm like,
What's that?
what is that? I'm like, what do you mean that's all I have to do? I'm like, so I'm like
Right.
getting a book to be like, what is a fashion, you know, figure
Right.
drawing? So, long story short there, I gave it a shot and I got accepted.
No kidding.
And then I was off to New York City.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's
Um,
brilliant. Where like you didn't let that stop you. You're like, well, let me figure out what this is and let me do it.
yeah, and I was like reading something yesterday about like how like it's so important to not look at problems as problems, it's just like as puzzles to be solved,
Mm.
right?
Oh, I love that.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's just a simple mind shift. You're just like, oh, that's interesting. Like this is uncomfortable. Like, but if I can see it as a problem or a puzzle, because puzzles are more interesting and
Yeah.
fun to do, then I can kind of work
Mm.
through that. So that's all. Yeah, it's true. That's all it was. It's like, well, you need this to get in here, and I'm like, okay, go figure what
Hmm.
that is. And yeah, I got in there, spent a couple of years there, interned at Marc Jacobs, and spent a year there. And I was actually an example of a place where, yeah, you're like, not always like, it's not always being like a go-getter and like being like, okay, great, like what can I do next? What can I do next? And working for people who like are like kind of comfortable and like moving at a slow pace. They're like, oh, like would you slow down? And you're like, and I'm like, ah. So you're like, again, I'm back to like, I really like, then that was an example of like working for a company and you're like, oh, this is like, just need to like go
Yeah.
do my thing, and,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, visas ran out, came back to Canada. Canada doesn't really have like a strong fashion and apparel industry. There's a few options. So I worked as a menswear designer for an outerwear company here for a while.
Oh, nice.
And then, and that's what led me into the marketing world, which, because I got brought in to try and bring some youth to an old brand, bring some younger styles, younger ideas. And I realized quickly that like, no matter how, like, product matters so much, but I began to learn that how like everything works together, especially like product and marketing and product and brand, and that they all need each other. And I think we often spend a lot of time thinking one's better than the other, and it's not. And so I felt I was bringing all this fresh newness to this brand, and the marketing, the people who were tasked with like getting that message out there and expressing that new look and feel, like they weren't doing that. They were stuck in the old ways. And so I began to stick my head in that department a bit to like see if I could have any influence or just like learn. And so I started to understand how that side of that business worked. While at the same time, like becoming interested in, like, Instagram was coming out, or it was like was coming out there. So I was like, this is interesting. And I started to, with my photography background, I started to build up accounts when it was, kind of easier to do that. And so started doing that, and kind of I ended up building an e-commerce brand for pets, like pet products, pet grooming products.
Where's that come from? Where'd the pet thing come from?
I had a dog. I got a dog.
Okay.
I got a dog, and I was like, you know what? This dog has a problem. It has like annoying dry skin. And so I learned the whole world of influencer marketing on Instagram when it was like pretty new. I built up an account for him, for this dog, and we then created products to sell. So I was like working during the day for this apparel brand, poking my head into like more mainstream sort of traditional marketing and working with agencies, as well as like getting into e-commerce and on my own on the side. So kind of building this little brand on the side. And that sort of is the beginning of like a series of the e-commerce journey of building brands, building e-commerce brands, and kind of like becoming this little one-stop shop of, not only being able to produce the content from having that background, but starting to become very familiar with Shopify, advertising, retention, and all of it. And sort of from there on out, started to work on that side of the business, kind of left the fashion world and started to build my own brands, as well as like helping others sort of build brands online. And that sort of successes and failures and building up companies, and then like learning years later that I could have sold it, and when I just shut it down, and I'm like, and like it's kind of just sort of moving on to the next thing, and now we're sort of at Chuck, so I continue to kind of work on that side with other businesses, and then as well as always sort of looking out for and building my own things. So that original one was my first child was this French bulldog, this little dog, and he had all these skin problems, and we built a brand for him and product line for him, and now I have real children and doing the same thing again. Like we need food on the go, and we need snacks. We need protein. We get. Can I have a snack? I don't know, 100 times a day.
Yeah.
And so again, it was a very glaring problem, and so here we are again, doing it all again. So it's been a bit of a crazy journey, and it's kind of funny because you definitely can, like, you feel like at the time you're like, why am I? None of this all matches. How am I going from fashion to this? But you realize that, like, if you don't just open yourself up to just trying new things, like, it's like doing that one the next thing, it can lead to something so unexpected and unbelievable, and that you're like, you can't even imagine what you're missing out on. Like, it's impossible to imagine. Because if I go back to me back then, would I have ever thought I'd be selling meat sticks? Like, that was not on right. That was not That's on the list. How it works. Yeah, that was not there. So I think it's been like, as scary and stressful and kind of, it is to be always in the unknown. I'm always very optimistic and just like excited to take a leap at something, because I know from experience that like it may not be that thing, but it's like by doing that thing, it could lead to something really, really cool. Else. Right. So
this is why I just love stories like this. And it's, I talk to people that have similar stories, and my own story is kind of like what I was doing 20, 30 years ago. There's no scenario where I was even thinking about what I'm doing today. Like you go 35 years ago, there was no internet. So I was definitely not doing anything. But it's amazing though, because what I love about it is that it's like this, like you said, everything kind of layers on, like your experience here leads you to this experience, but you're learning along the way. You're learning what you enjoy doing. You're learning how you think and how you want to approach problems or whatever. But all along the way, everything was not a waste. The time you spent doing a certain thing. I mean, I'm sure that even though you're out of the fashion, you're moved on from fashion, still a lot of the lessons and maybe the creative side of it still influences you somehow.
Well, like, trust me, whether it's my own or another client, it's like if someone's ready to like design a line of merch, I'm all over it, right? It's like we need merch for the brand. I'm like, yes, let's go. Let's make shirts and hats and everything, and I get excited about it, and I get to like, bring out all of the ideas and the way we would sort of design and build out a fashion, like an apparel collection. We just gotta apply that to like someone who wants like merch done, right? And so when I take it, it is kind of fun because I'm like, yes, I get to
but you get to see also, like you were talking at one point where you wanted to see the marketing side because you were up against that and you learned it. And by this point, you've probably seen every facet of a business, and you're kind of you're cross-trained across all this stuff and have not only just trained, but experience. So
I think like now my big, the fire hose I'm bringing out of, as far as learning, is more on the like finance operations, sort of production side. So dealing with like forecasting and production schedules and all these things with a product, right? So like for me, it was like design something and then someone else gets it made, it comes back, we market it, we build the brand, we do all that. So there's like this sort of gap that I didn't really have a whole lot of experience in. So now with Chuck having just it being my thing and having to be involved in all areas, it's like now that's a whole new thing. So
interesting.
I'd say officially now I feel like I've had my hands in every part of the business. And now I get now the exciting part with this one is like, okay, I 100% need to bring people in. And now I'm just going to figure out like what I like to do the most and find the people
in terms of a role
parts.
Where you sit. And what you have done.
I think as entrepreneurs, you have to get caught in doing the worst parts. And you're kind of stuck doing the things you hate because you figure no one else wants to do it. And I'm really, for this one, I'm trying to like say, I really want to choose the areas that I really enjoy and just find the right fit for everything else.
That's a good position to be in. But you know about those other things. That's what helps you run.
Well, and it helps you have really,
team.
Yes, you can have like, and I think that's important, is like I can have, even just say within the scope of marketing, it's like I can have a very intelligent conversation with an ad buyer, with a retention specialist, with whoever. They're going to know so much more than me, but at least I can speak the language. We can throw ideas around and we can talk that. And
I think that's actually, there should be like the school of entrepreneurship, how to become the best entrepreneur eventually. And you get trained and do all these crazy things, because I think about the same thing. Like my story is on the web. I had businesses before the web, but I've been around for about 20 years doing stuff here. But the first decade, I was pretty much into internet marketing. I was doing affiliate marketing, pay-per-click. I was in the marketing side, selling digital products, doing all this stuff. And I don't do that anymore. I pivoted at one point and went into web design development. But and that was freelancing. Then I worked for a company for a few years, and now I've had this agency for 8. But my point is that all that experience, that business experience, running my own businesses, all the marketing I did, understanding the web, how search works, how paid advertising works, how I can talk to marketing teams, I can talk to advertise or CMOs or CROs or whatever to translate their vision, because I understand what they're talking about, and
Yeah, exactly.
and I can maybe even provide ideas and make them think about things from a different angle, in terms of implementing what they're planning. But that's
Yeah.
why I say, I almost feel like you need that messy journey. You need to just try everything and jump into all kinds of things and learn as you go. And then eventually it kind of gels. And when you find yourself in that place where it's like, oh yeah, so all that time was not wasted doing those things that didn't go anywhere.
For sure. And I think and honestly, I think it's maybe how we're future proofing ourselves. And I would say, like, when I think about what my children are how they need to navigate the world, it's going to be that. It's going to be being flexible, being like open to new things, open to learning. Like, we're not in we're no longer in a place where you can pick like one single career and like likely stick with it for the rest of your life, because it's
that's true.
That's just not, we don't know where it's all going. And so I think adaptability and just being open to things is, and curious, and just, I think is the best thing you can do. And I want to encourage my kids to like, but let's, it doesn't have to be successful. It's not the point. It's let's find what's a problem in your life. Let's build a product. So if that's something that I would really love to do with him over the next, many years, is like potentially have them design and create and launch something, a product or service.
That's cool.
Because I think that is, I don't think school can handle teaching that. Like, they can't do that at scale. You can't get everyone to do that. And so I think as a parent, I would love to take that on, as to, make sure that they have, take my experience and do it that much sooner. Like, find a little problem and create a service, understand all that, like I said, I had gaps in my knowledge. And so, but I think if you create a product or service, you are forced to learn everything, and I think that's really cool. It doesn't have, and I think if you just look at it as a learning experience, and not that it has to be some successful moneymaker, and just that you're there to like take an idea, make it real, and sell it. I think it's really, really, really cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
I encourage anyone to try it,
Yeah. So what other challenges have you had throughout the years, doing all this stuff that you've done? You've had quite an arc, and now you've landed on Chuck. But were there any other big challenges along the way that you can speak to and that you had to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is all, I think everything we've talked about, and I think I said earlier, it's just like, this all comes with the challenge of not really being settled in anything. Not like you're kind of constantly restarting careers. And so it's often, I think the biggest struggle is, seeing people who have took this with a single path straight, and you get to your 40s and you're like, oh, like all of these people feel like they're like in a different place than you are. So I'd say like this whole thing came with struggles of just total like being unsure of your future.
Right.
Yeah. And I think, and I'd say like that's probably like always been the biggest thing. And like and I think seeing others and the comparing of others, and
I do the same thing.
I mean, like, man, like
I could have made it, my life way easier.
Yeah.
If I just taken that path that guy over there took, or my friend over there took.
Yeah. I would say like overall, like that's been the biggest struggle. I've been very like, and I think my biggest struggle is I'm not overly money motivated. And I'd say that, and so like, that's not what drives me. And I would say that's maybe a good thing, but also a bad thing, And so it's always been like, I think finding our way through life and figuring out all this out has always been a struggle, because I do prioritize like time and moments, and and just fun. And we took this whole year to be traveling around the world with our kids. We pulled them out of school. We
Yeah,
just
tell us about
YOLO'd it
that.
and
Yeah.
just like went. And with
I mean,
that comes with
is it, just a pause, but so is there tension with like you and your partner and your, you know, your life like that? Cause you're that way. You're that, cause I know there's a little bit in my family. My wife was like a few times, she's gotten kind of over it over the years, but I remember early on in our relationship, been together for like 26 years. It's like, why can't you just get a real job?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's definitely the moments of like, it's like, stop looking over there, like focus on that. And that's very helpful. Like I need that sometimes.
Right.
But overall,
Yeah,
I think
need
like, we've complemented each other very well. I think, because I think what we've both agreed on is like, this period of time where kids are, 5 and 8, it's just like family's everything. And we're like, we may screw things up in other ways by doing this, but let's just like take these two little people and like go like see the world with them and like, make this their like, make them interesting people. Like,
so that
and
is
make
that
them
the heart
flexible.
of,
So,
is that the heart of why you wanted to travel, like for your kids?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. And it's so cool now. It's so cool to talk to them as an 8-year-old who's like been to more places than most people.
Oh, they're
Like,
the coolest kid in class right now.
Man, it's neat. And I think it's the neatest thing. And I think we both agreed on that. So like, although that may, and funny enough, like I think like I had to like wrap my head around it more than she did, but it came with a whole, like it's been this like big struggle to pull it off, but also like the biggest blessing because you are like, you're putting career on hold like crazy. Like, and that's like really nerve wracking for sure. And so, I think that's been, again, I don't, we were kind of originally talking about struggles. It's kind of like it's like there's ongoing struggles, but you're just, I wouldn't have any other way because I think when we talk about comparing ourselves to other people, you're like, man, like, look at the nice house. Look how simple their life seems. They go to work, they come home and they turn it off,
Yeah.
But then you talk to them and it's like, they're seeing you that way. They're like, look, they're like, I hate my life. They're like, my life's so boring. I don't do anything. It's like, oh, I'm miserable. And you're like, oh, okay. So then what I've learned is there's no perfect answer. You're like,
there's no correlation between how much money you have
and you just have to be comfortable with like, just picking your uncomfortable, like, right? So for them, for me, it's like my uncomfortable is like a 9 to 5, commuting every day for 2 hours. Like that's my uncomfortable. And I'm like, or that's mine. I'm going to choose a different uncomfortable so I don't have to have that, like,
right.
And other people will pick theirs. And, I think it's just been this realization that I think time, I don't know. I think we take it all too seriously. Yeah. And I think we need to just spend more time together and be with our friends. And I think there's so many ways to build really cool businesses and do things with people that like, I think the idea that we should pick a path and stick with it and not ever like look up from it and put blinders on is crazy. Like you're missing so much.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, some people are okay with that. They have a very specific path they want to take in life but some of us don't. We want to,
and I think like, and sometimes like it's because you're raised and I mean, there's no predicting on how a kid will react based on how they were raised, right? Like some people didn't go anywhere when they were young and therefore they also don't feel like going anywhere. And other people didn't go anywhere when they're young and for that reason they just need to be everywhere. And so I guess like for us, it's like, you're just kind of always guessing, but like I said, like,
but it does go back to how you were, like, I remember like there's some from my dad that echoes like when I was probably in my teens, he's like, you can do anything you want to do, whatever you put your mind to.
Yeah.
which broke me because like, well, then I can do anything. What am I going to, I could do
Yeah, like,
all
how
these
cool is
things.
that?
Which one am I going to choose?
Yeah, I know.
And that's my whole life from there.
It's exciting.
But it is exciting. It breaks it open. Like, yeah, I mean, if it's somebody that influences you and you know, I mean, that was obviously that hit home and it's something I remember 40 years later. But that's amazing. So the trip itself, did you know, that's where the Chuck idea that came out of that trip, or did you have?
It was kind of, it ended up being almost like a case study or a proof of concept was the trip. So like we started before we left, the product. We've always traveled quite a lot.
Okay.
And again, so it's just like, been, slowly creeping up. It's like, okay, well, let's go here somewhere for 3 weeks. And then eventually, like, we went to, like, years ago, we went to Portugal for like a month. And like, what would a month be like? And then we're like, it's like, we're just like upping the ante every time. And they're like, well, what if we went away for a year? You know, so we can't afford to just leave for a year. So we actually packed our whole like life away into storage and we rented our house out, which was like a wild to have to go through that. Packed our life, got renters, people renting the house out, and yeah, we only had 4 suitcases, and we left. So we like went all through Europe, came home for Christmas, and went to Australia. And we just got back from Australia.
No kidding.
So Chuck was like, again, it was from this trip and prior trips, or even just road trips. Even we drive from here to Florida. You're like, okay, we cannot, especially, and the kids can't live on like crackers and like granola bars like for 8 hours, like on the planes. Like we gotta get something else in you. And so,
but they're more nutritious. And
jerky was like obviously something I always liked, but it's just too tough for kids.
Right.
Not really interested in gnawing on that. And so meat sticks always came up, but it, like in Canada particularly, it's like hard to find like better for you ones that are like kind of cleaner, you know, 100% beef. And so it was always on my radar. I was like, we need to make something because it's just like, there's not great options here.
So how does it look? Like you're traveling, you're in Europe, you're in Australia. What are you like? You're sitting on a beach and you're just thinking about ideas. Not your phone.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just making notes.
Just following you everywhere.
Just making notes.
Your family's having fun. Your mind as though it's like working on this problem.
that would be some feedback I get from the family. They're like, are you here? They're like, I'm just like looking into the distance. You know, it's like coming back to earth sometimes is for sure something I have to work on. But it was, and that's been really fun to build a product around your own lifestyle. Because it's a whole lot easier to sell. And so even from a marketing content perspective, it's very a founder-led brand. So with, you know, and it's still a work in progress, but as we like build up our presence on Instagram and places like that, it's like, it's me telling my stories. It's me living and how this product just helps make one little choice in our day or life that much easier. So that's been really fun to like do something where I'm not having to, manufacture an imaginary world or a brand that doesn't have anything. It's just like, it's me, and it's
totally authentic. And you know,
it makes it a lot easier.
Right.
And it makes marketing a whole lot cheaper too.
Well, I'm sure.
It's just me. So yeah.
Just hang out.
So I'm excited to and I'm excited to build on that. So I'm gonna get some like background support on the marketing and social side, so we can just like talk more, do more, share more, and just relate to people. And like, you know, again, like there's content in here for sure of like, you know, just a dad ripping a house down.
That's a beautiful thing though. You've obviously done a lot of social media, you've been in a lot of video, and you've done a lot of like, that's, I feel like you've really landed in the sweet spot of just, you know, I get to live my life and do what I want to do, follow my dreams and my passions, and I get to record it along the way.
Yeah.
I get to just document my life.
And that's it's, oh man, so much footage though. So that's the problem I'm solving right now. I'm like we're getting the raw material and content's not a problem. I can just shoot my life. Now I need someone to like take that and go do something with it.
That's a Gary Vee problem. If you
yes.
like,
yeah,
he just has people following him around all the time and a whole team. Yeah.
I know. And he's been doing that forever and I've always loved it. And I'm like, man, if I had like a bit of a marketing budget, I'm like, for sure, that's the first thing I would do. Just hire some young person to just follow you around. He cracked the code, and he's been telling everyone else this is what you have to do for like 15 years now, and he's still sharing the same message because no one listens.
Yeah,
and but I'm like, it's so true. It's like we are the content as building businesses, founders. Like we are the content. The hard part is like documenting it and like putting it out in the world. Like the content's there, and so.
You think AI will help in that regard, like be able to help you process a lot of that and put it together?
For sure. It'll make you faster for sure.
Yeah.
But I still think you need another person. I think where he makes it sound so simple. It's just like, just do it. But it's like,
well, right.
You're like, just do it, man. Like just record it and share it. And you're like, yeah, but I'm also thinking about a million other things. So that is one of the hires I really want to do is like, still be the content, but like have someone help process it. Cause it's a ton of work. If you really want to go all in on that stuff, it's like, it's a lot.
It seems overwhelming. That's why a lot of people don't start,
but there's no shortage of subject matter, right? There's, for me, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's like, why do you think, audiences and future, prospects, customers, whatever, like that kind of content? Is it just because they connect with it? It makes like for me, them connect to the brand better.
I love brand building or like business building or like founder stories because you're like, oh my God, they're like just as much of a mess as I am. Like this is awesome. Yeah. Or they maxed their credit cards out and they lost everything and then all of a sudden it worked and like, it's just like hearing that everyone had a hard time is a relief, right? Because you're like, am I the only one here having a really hard time?
You're not,
and I can't figure it out. And even, it's realizing that, there's, you get caught up focusing on these like anomalies, these people who, was it Gruns that just like sold for like an insane amount of money within like a year or whatever it was, and you're like caught up on these like crazy stories. But the reality is like, founders, entrepreneurs, people who like find success, like they're not actually like hitting those milestones until much later in life. I think we get caught up focusing on that 25-year-old who like made it big. And I think the timeline, I think Gary Vee talks about that too a lot. It's just about like, you got to put the time in and not be in such a rush.
Right. You got your whole life. Yeah. He talks about, like, especially younger people. It's like, even when you're 30, it's like, I feel like I should have it figured out by now. You don't.
And I mean, even that's a content topic I would love to talk about. I'm like, me at 24 sitting there trying to figure out is still me now. I'm like, in a way I haven't changed. It's just my environments. Like things have happened, but like, I'm still like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
And I think you gotta, and so I think that's why people gravitate towards content like that is because you're like, oh, like we're all in this. We're all having a hard time.
Yeah.
We're all figuring it out, and we all need to just find the joy in it and take time off, reflect back on the things that have worked out well. And really, I think like I'd say this year of being on the road so much, it's just like, like you actually don't need much. Like I have like 3 pairs of Patagonia shorts. That's all I've worn for 12 months that's it. And you're like, oh, I don't actually need much. I just need my family, a couple of friends would be cool, my health, I don't need much. And I think that's like pretty like, it's when you start to realize that all this stuff you've built around yourself, you're like, it's whatever, all of a sudden you can kind of
relax in that my own life too. It's like, just be more grateful for what you have and just, and be more present. And cause thinking big dreams and all these, like you have all this stuff you need to do to be happy. You got to get to the success.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Figure out how to be happy here,
and it's not to be like, oh, just settle. Like don't settle. Like
Right.
always like go for it. Like keep going. But like realize that, and I think it's always that, right? It's the good old days. Remember when we were like, just like operating that business out of the garage, it's all that stuff. And I think and it's so hard. It's like so hard to just appreciate the moment but like, I don't know. I think it's important to try and like find a way to do it because it'll be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And
time goes fast. You blink.
Yeah. Whether it works out or not, like time will pass and you're going to wish you were back in that funny little startup mode or whatever.
Yeah. Well, in whatever hard times you're having now, there will be a day when those hard times are behind you and you'll, just smile. You made it. You did it, and it's not affecting you. Like you'll rebuild, you'll figure it out. And I feel like we could dive into a lot of different things. There's so many things to unpack and think about, talk about. I have a feeling we have a lot more conversations in us. I mean, maybe 100%. We'll figure out something after this. We'll figure out a way to bring you back and dive into something. We'll talk about it. Because sometimes it's easy. Like we're just gonna have you come back and we'll have a part 2, and but this one it's like let's think about it for a minute. Let's figure out what where you want to come back.
Yeah, we can get specific on something.
Yeah, but that'll be really cool. But it's been great talking to you and hearing your story, Allan. It is one that is inspiring, and I hope that the audience gets a lot out of it. I feel like I'm in a very privileged position to be able to talk to entrepreneurs all the time, and I run a business, so and I see the mess people have gone through. I was like, okay, I can feel a little bit better. And every time I talk to somebody like you, I'm like, okay, yep, that's I'm not doing as bad as I think I'm doing in life.
We're all just making it up. We're all making it up as we go. We're all just like putting one more foot forward.
But also it's like the like-mindedness of it, right?
Yeah. Because
I feel like I really can connect with your kind of approach to ideas and different, but in terms of how you look at money, how you look at what brings you joy in life. Mm-hmm. That's also a really cool thing, is to find like-minded people like that. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. But yeah, it was great. If somebody wants to, now you got the brand, you got the Chuck brand.
Yep.
If they need to find that out there, is it Chuck something? It's eatchuck.com.
Eatchuck.com. All right. Or eatchuck on Instagram is sort of where we're going to start to have some fun for sure.
Are you? Well,
I'm
going to follow because I want to see what you're doing, because I like learning from people like you.
Yeah.
Learning by sitting back and seeing what others do. That's good.
Yeah. We're hopefully going to, work on that. That's the big project right now. It's like building a founder-led brand and just telling those stories. Yeah,
I love it. That's fun. And so that's where you hang out, is Instagram? Or you hang out anywhere else on the web that if somebody wanted to reach out to you? No, not really.
That's about it.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah, for now. Too many things, man.
Out of curiosity, that's actually good. That's actually, we'll land on this lesson from you.
Yeah,
because as somebody that also is on social for years, do you find that specializing like what, like you found that Instagram's your thing because it's a visual?
Well, yeah, I think you have to I think again, now we're bringing up Gary Vee a bunch of times, but I do think the idea of distributing content through all channels is something to work towards. But I think you need to sort of pick one as where you believe your audience probably hangs out the most, where
your flagship kind of,
or where you feel like you can be your best self. So that might be podcasting, right? And or whatever. So I just had to sort of to pick one. But we will, with resources, we would redistribute that content across TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube Shorts, things like that. Yep. But kind of want to pick a lane for now, and try and get good there, and then use the other ones as sort of ways to distribute that content or rework that content to be native to that platform. But yeah, just going to pick one for now because yeah, it's a lot to wrap your head around. I think that's the reason why we all like quit and give up, because we were just like, this is too much. And you're like, well,
simplify.
Yeah. And like I think that's been again, that's been the thing that I've had to work on the most, is like just picking lanes, picking things to focus on. And
that's
because otherwise we'll feel like we're spinning our wheels. But yeah.
I'm gonna shut up because I'm
Anyway, yeah, we gotta go, man. We've talked too long.
All these different ideas, like I could say this, and then we could go into let's save that for
maybe we get more tactical, maybe another time or something.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, again, so go to Instagram, everybody. That's where you'll find Eat Chuck and Allan's hanging out there, telling his story. Until next time, Allan. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Builders Podcast. One more quick note about our sponsors. At Unified Web Design, we're passionate about doing better together, partnering with agencies and businesses to deliver exceptional web design, development, and ongoing support. And UnifiedLabs.ai is where we explore smart, practical ways to integrate AI directly into your website and e-commerce flows. From intelligent chatbots to marketing automation to back-end reporting, all with a strong focus on user experience and making your systems work smarter. If you haven't already, subscribe or follow to stay updated on future episodes. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, sharing it with someone who might benefit helps us grow this amazing community. Until next time, keep building smarter, bolder, and with purpose.